My manager made me the fall guy. The fall didn't end where he thought. We're terminating your employment effective immediately for fraudulent expense reporting. The HR director's voice was professional, cold, final. She slid a folder across the conference table toward me. Inside were expense reports I'd never filed. Receipts I'd never submitted. My signature forged on documents claiming thousands of dollars for personal purchases. I stared at the papers, my coffee growing cold in my hand. Around the table sat 5 people. HR, the company lawyer, my manager Troy Hutchins looking appropriately concerned, and 2 executives I'd never met. This isn't mine, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. I never filed these reports. Troy leaned forward, his expression pained. Julian, I know this is hard to accept. But we have documentation. Your signature. Your employee number. Multiple submissions over 6 months. The HR director opened another folder. We take fraud very seriously. You're being terminated for cause. No severance. We're also considering criminal charges. I looked at Troy. My manager of 3 years. The man I'd trusted. The one who'd mentored me, promoted me, praised my work. His face showed perfect concern, perfect disappointment. But his eyes were empty. My name is Julian Cross, and my manager just made the biggest mistake of his career. 6 months ago, I was Troy's golden boy. The senior analyst who could fix any problem, smooth over any client disaster, make the impossible deadlines work. I'd been with quantum analytics for 5 years, worked my way up from junior analyst to senior position, earned every promotion through 80-hour weeks and sacrificed weekends. Troy took credit for most of my work. I knew it. Everyone knew it. But that was how things worked. You made your boss look good, and eventually, you moved up. That was the game. I played it well. Kept my head down. Delivered results. Waited for my turn. The problem started when Troy's boss, the VP of Analytics, announced his retirement. Suddenly there was an executive position opening up. Troy wanted it desperately. So did I. I should have seen what was coming. Should have noticed how Troy's praise got colder. How he stopped including me in client meetings. How he started asking me to handle administrative tasks that kept me away from the executives. But I was naive. I thought my work would speak for itself. I was wrong. The first forged expense report appeared in the system 4 months ago. I didn't know about it then. Nobody did. Troy was building his case quietly, carefully, creating a paper trail that would destroy me when he needed it. What Troy didn't know was that I kept records. Detailed, obsessive records of every project, every client interaction, every expense I actually filed. It was a habit I'd developed after watching another analyst get fired for someone else's mistake. I had spreadsheets, backup files, screenshots, everything organized by date and project code. I also had something else. Something Troy couldn't have anticipated. 3 months ago, I'd been working late when I noticed something odd in the quarterly financial report. Numbers that didn't match the project budgets I'd been tracking. Costs allocated to my projects that I'd never approved. I started investigating. Quietly. On my own time. What I found made my blood run cold. Troy had been embezzling from client accounts for at least 2 years. Small amounts, spread across multiple projects, buried in expense reports and vendor payments. Probably $500,000 total. And now he was setting me up to take the fall. Sitting in that conference room, I made a decision. I could fight this now, protest my innocence, demand they check the security footage of me never submitting those reports. But Troy had planned this carefully. He'd have answers for everything. So instead, I nodded slowly. I understand. Troy's eyebrows raised slightly. He'd expected me to fight. The HR director looked surprised too. You're admitting to the fraud? The company lawyer asked. No, I said carefully. I'm acknowledging that you've made your decision. Fighting it right now won't change anything. You've already decided I'm guilty. I stood up. I'll clean out my desk. Troy actually looked disappointed. He'd wanted the drama. Wanted me to beg or rage or give him a reason to have security escort me out. Wanted the spectacle. I didn't give it to him. I walked back to my desk, packed my personal items into a box, and left the building with my head high. Security watched but didn't approach. Coworkers whispered. A few looked sympathetic. Most looked away. My best friend at work, Casey, caught me by the elevator. Julian, what happened? Ask Troy, I said quietly. I'm sure he'll have a great story. The doors closed on her confused face. At home, I opened my laptop and pulled up my evidence folder. 2 years of documentation. Every legitimate expense report I'd filed. Every receipt. Every approval email. My signature on the real documents looked different from the forged ones. Different pen pressure. Different slant. I also pulled up my other folder. The one labeled Project Budget Analysis. Inside were screenshots of Troy's embezzlement. Vendor payments to companies that didn't exist. Expense allocations that never matched actual costs. A pattern so clear it was almost stupid. Troy had gotten greedy. And sloppy. He just thought he was smart enough to cover it with a scapegoat. I spent 6 hours organizing everything into a comprehensive report. Then I did something Troy hadn't counted on. I didn't just compile evidence of my innocence. I compiled evidence of his guilt. Every fraudulent payment. Every fake vendor. Every discrepancy between reported costs and actual invoices. I traced the money. Found the shell companies. Discovered that the fake vendors all had one thing in common. They were registered to an offshore account controlled by Troy's wife. It was beautiful in its stupidity. He'd used his wife's maiden name, thinking nobody would connect it. But I'd seen her LinkedIn profile. Seen her business registration. Troy hadn't just framed me. He'd left a trail of breadcrumbs leading straight back to himself. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I researched. Found the contact information for Quantum Analytics Ethics Hotline. Their external auditing firm. The state's Fraud Investigation Bureau. Then I found something else. The company's whistleblower protection policy. Any employee who reports fraud in good faith is protected from retaliation. Even terminated employees. At 6 a.m., I sent my first email. To the ethics hotline. Subject line, evidence of systematic embezzlement by senior management. I attached my complete report. 500 pages of documentation. Every forged expense report Troy had created in my name. Every legitimate report I'd actually filed. The comparison analysis showing they weren't the same. And most importantly, every piece of evidence showing Troy's embezzlement. I sent a second email to the external auditing firm. Same documentation. A third email to the State Fraud Bureau. Same documentation. Then I waited. Troy probably woke up that morning feeling triumphant. He'd eliminated his competition. Secured his promotion. Protected his embezzlement scheme. All in one move. He had no idea the floor was about to drop out from under him. The call came at 10 a.m. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Cross, this is Patricia Valdez from the State Fraud Investigation Bureau. I've received your report regarding quantum analytics. I need to verify some information with you. We talked for 2 hours. She asked detailed questions about the expense reports, the embezzlement pattern, my termination. I answered everything honestly, providing documentation for every claim. This is very thorough, she said finally. Unusually thorough for someone who just lost their job. I like to be prepared. That's fortunate. Mr. Cross, I need to ask you not to discuss this investigation with anyone. We'll be opening a formal inquiry. That includes interviewing you under oath. I understand. One more thing. Did Troy Hutchins know you had this information before he terminated you? No. He just knew I was his biggest competition for the VP position. She was quiet for a moment. So he framed you for his own crimes to eliminate you and protect himself. That's my assessment, yes. That's incredibly stupid. Yes, I agreed. It is. After she hung up, I allowed myself a smile. Troy had always underestimated me. Called me a workhorse, not a racehorse. Someone who did the work while others got the glory. He'd just learned that workhorses keep very good records. 3 days later, Casey called. Julian, something weird is happening at work. There are auditors everywhere. They're going through expense reports. They asked me questions about you. What kind of questions? About your work habits. Whether you ever submitted unusual expenses. Whether I'd seen you with Troy outside work hours. She paused. Julian, what's going on? I can't talk about it yet. But Casey, if they ask you anything, just tell the truth. About everything you've seen. Are you in trouble? No, I said. But someone is. The auditors worked fast. Within a week, they'd frozen Troy's accounts. Interviewed every employee in the analytics department. Pulled security footage from the office showing Troy at my desk after hours, using my computer. The forged expense reports had been submitted from my workstation. But the security footage showed Troy logging in with my credentials. Credentials he had access to as my manager. It was all falling apart. But Troy still didn't know I was the one who'd reported him. He thought the audit was routine. Maybe triggered by my termination. Nothing to worry about. He was about to learn differently. 2 weeks after my termination, I got a call from Quantum Analytics legal department. They wanted to meet. Unofficially. Off the record. I brought a lawyer. Casey's cousin, actually, who specialized in employment law. His name was Marcus, and he looked like he enjoyed watching corporate lawyers squirm. The company's general counsel, an older woman named Victoria, sat across from us looking uncomfortable. "Mr. Cross, we'd like to discuss your termination." "I was terminated for cause," I said. "For fraud. You made that very clear." "Yes." "Well, it appears there may have been some misunderstanding about those expense reports." Marcus leaned forward. "Misunderstanding? Your client was fired, denied severance, and threatened with criminal prosecution. That's quite a misunderstanding." Victoria flinched. "We're prepared to reinstate Mr. Cross with full back pay and benefits." "Why the sudden change of heart?" Marcus asked, though we both knew the answer. "New information has come to light regarding the source of those fraudulent reports." "You mean you discovered my client didn't file them?" Marcus said flatly. "That his manager forged them to frame him." Victoria's silence was answer enough. "We're also prepared to offer a settlement," she continued, "for the emotional distress caused by the wrongful termination." Marcus looked at me. I shook my head. "My client isn't interested in reinstatement or settlement," Marcus said. "He's interested in criminal prosecution of the person who framed him." Victoria went pale. "Mr. Cross, I understand you're angry, but pursuing criminal charges against Troy would be complicated. There are corporate reputation issues to consider. Client relationships. Stock prices. Those sound like Quantum's problems," I said calmly. "Not mine. We could make this worth your while. A generous settlement. A glowing reference. I guarantee that this incident won't appear on your employment record." Marcus pulled out a document. "Or you could address the lawsuit my client is filing tomorrow. Wrongful termination. Defamation. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. And whistleblower retaliation." Victoria took the document, her hand shaking slightly. "Whistleblower retaliation? My client reported embezzlement to the appropriate authorities. Then he was terminated. That's textbook retaliation under state law." "He was already terminated when he reported it," Victoria argued. "Check the timestamps," I said quietly. "I filed my first report with the ethics hotline at 6:02 a.m. the day after my termination. According to your own whistleblower policy, that's within the protected reporting window." Victoria read through Marcus's document. Her face got paler with each page. "We'll need to discuss this with the board," she finally said. "You do that," Marcus replied. "We'll see you in court." We left. In the elevator, Marcus grinned. "That was beautiful. Did you really time the report to fall within the protection window?" "I researched very carefully," I said. "You're scary when you're prepared." "Yes," I agreed. "I am." The story broke 3 weeks later. Senior manager at Quantum Analytics arrested for embezzlement and fraud. It made the business section of the local paper. Then the regional news. Then the national business websites. Troy's mugshot was everywhere. The golden boy of Quantum Analytics, arrested by federal agents at his home. Charged with wire fraud, embezzlement, falsifying business records, and identity theft. The identity theft charge was because he'd used my credentials and forged my signature. That elevated it from corporate fraud to federal crime. I got calls from reporters. I declined all interviews. Let the prosecutors and investigators do the talking. Let the evidence speak for itself. Casey called, shocked. "Julian, I had no idea. Troy seemed so normal. Sociopaths usually do. Everyone's talking about you. About how you're the one who reported it. Some people are calling you a hero. Others are." She trailed off. "Calling me a snitch?" "Yeah." I shrugged, even though she couldn't see it. I'd rather be a snitch than a scapegoat. The fallout at Quantum was massive. The CEO resigned. The CFO was placed on administrative leave. The board launched a complete audit of the last 5 years of financial records. They found more fraud. Not just Troy. Other managers who'd been skimming. Fake vendor payments. Inflated expenses. The company had been bleeding money for years. Stock price dropped 30% in a week. Victoria called again. This time, her tone was different. Desperate. "Mr. Cross, the board wants to settle. Whatever you want. Just name the number." Marcus and I had discussed this. We knew it was coming. $1 million, I said. Full acknowledgement in writing that I was wrongfully terminated and framed. Public statement clearing my name. And Troy's full cooperation with prosecutors. The company can't force Troy to cooperate. Then convince him. Tell him cooperating might reduce his sentence from 20 years to 10. Victoria was quiet. "The board will never approve $1 million. Then we'll see them in court. My case is airtight. Wrongful termination. Defamation. Whistleblower retaliation. A jury will be very sympathetic to the employee who was framed by his corrupt boss. You're asking us to publicly admit we failed to catch the fraud. You did fail, I said simply. I caught it. You fired me for it. Now you're paying for that mistake. She hung up. Marcus looked at me. You really want $1 million? No. I want them to understand the cost of not protecting their employees. Of believing a charming liar over documentation. They might actually pay it. I know, I said. But it's not really about the money. Marcus smiled. What's it about? Making sure the fall guy doesn't stay down. They paid. Not $1 million. $750,000 after negotiations. Plus the written acknowledgement. Plus the public statement. Quantum Analytics issued a press release. We have determined that the termination of Julian Cross was made in error based on falsified documentation. Mr. Cross was wrongfully accused and has been fully exonerated. We have reached an amicable settlement and wish him well in his future endeavors. It was corporate speak for we screwed up. But it was public. Permanent. Searchable. My name was cleared. Troy's preliminary hearing was scheduled for 6 months out. The prosecutors had offered him a plea deal, 15 years, full restitution, cooperation with ongoing investigations. Troy refused. Claimed he was innocent. That I had framed him. His lawyer tried to argue that I'd created the evidence after being fired. That I'd fabricated the embezzlement trail to get revenge for my termination. The prosecutors destroyed that theory in about 5 minutes. The embezzlement had been ongoing for years. The security footage showed Troy at my desk. The fake vendors existed in databases I didn't have access to. The offshore accounts were in his wife's name. Troy's lawyer withdrew from the case. Troy's wife filed for divorce. The golden boy was falling hard. I got a job offer from one of Quantum's competitors. Vertex Analytics. They'd followed the story closely. Liked what they saw. We need someone who pays attention to details, the CEO told me during the interview. Someone who doesn't just do their job but actually cares about integrity. I'm not a hero, I said. I just didn't want to go to prison for someone else's crimes. That's exactly the kind of self-preservation we value. Plus, your analytical skills are exceptional. That report you compiled? Our fraud team reviewed it. They said it was better than most professional investigations. They offered me a senior position. Director of Compliance and Analytics, 30% salary increase. Equity package. The works. I accepted. Casey called when she heard. You're moving to Vertex? That's Quantum's biggest competitor. I know. Troy's going to lose his mind. Troy's going to prison. I don't care what he thinks. She laughed. Fair point. Hey, Julian? I'm proud of you. For not letting them destroy you. Thanks, Case. That means a lot. After we hung up, I sat in my apartment looking at the settlement check. $750,000. Life-changing money. But it wasn't the money that mattered. It was what the money represented. Validation. Vindication. Proof that being prepared, being meticulous, being honest actually paid off. Troy had tried to make me the fall guy. Instead, he'd created the person who would bring down his entire scheme. My first day at Vertex was surreal. I had an office with windows. A team reporting to me. Resources. Respect. The CEO, Raymond Park, took me to lunch. I want you to audit our systems. Top to bottom. Find our vulnerabilities before someone like Troy exploits them. You think you have someone like Troy? Every company has someone like Troy. Someone smart enough to steal but not smart enough to cover it properly. Your job is to find them before they do damage. I built a comprehensive fraud detection system. Automated expense report analysis. Vendor verification protocols. Mandatory dual authorization for large payments. Everything I wished Quantum had implemented. 3 months in, my system flagged irregularities in the marketing department. Small discrepancies. Vendor payments that didn't quite match invoices. I investigated quietly. Found a mid-level manager who'd been padding expenses. Not anywhere near Troy's scale. Maybe $30,000 over 2 years. I brought it to Raymond. What do you want me to do? He looked at the evidence. Fire them. File a report with the police. Send a message that we don't tolerate this. It might make the news. Bad publicity. Better than covering it up and having it explode later. He looked at me. You taught me that. The cover-up is always worse than the crime. We fired the manager. Filed charges. It made the local business section. Small story. Vertex Analytics discovers and reports employee fraud. The reporter called me for comment. I declined. Let the company's statement stand. Troy's trial started 18 months after my termination. I was called to testify as a witness for the prosecution. Seeing him in court was strange. He looked smaller somehow. The confidence was gone. The charm had evaporated. What remained was a middle-aged man facing 20 years in federal prison. His new lawyer tried to paint me as a disgruntled employee seeking revenge. "Mr. Cross, isn't it true you wanted Mr. Hutchins's job?" "Yes," I said honestly. "And when you didn't get it, you fabricated evidence to destroy his career." "No. I documented actual fraud. The evidence speaks for itself, but you compiled this evidence after being fired. After you had a motive for revenge. I compiled it after discovering discrepancies in project budgets 3 months before I was fired. I have time-stamped files proving I'd been tracking the embezzlement for months." The lawyer tried a different approach. "You benefited significantly from Mr. Hutchins's downfall. A settlement. A new job. Professional advancement. I benefited from being right. From keeping detailed records. From reporting fraud when I discovered it. Some might call that opportunistic. Some might call Troy's actions criminal," I replied. "The jury will decide which is which." The prosecutor smiled. The jury looked at Troy with disgust. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage. Forged documents. Bank records. Testimony from Quantum employees who'd witnessed Troy's behavior. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Found Troy guilty on all counts. Wire fraud. Embezzlement. Identity theft. Falsifying business records. Sentencing was scheduled for 2 months later. Troy was released on bail, required to wear an ankle monitor, prohibited from leaving the state. I went back to my life. Back to Vertex. Back to building fraud prevention systems and living my life. But Troy wasn't done. Desperate men do desperate things. He started calling me. First from his home number, then from blocked numbers when I stopped answering. "You destroyed my life," he said in a voicemail. "I gave you opportunities. Mentored you. And you betrayed me." I saved the voicemails. Forwarded them to his lawyer and the prosecutors. Harassment of a witness. Violation of bail conditions. The call stopped. But the damage was done. At sentencing, the judge referenced Troy's complete lack of remorse and continued harassment of the victim he attempted to frame. 22 years. Maximum sentence. Troy's lawyer filed an appeal. It was denied. Troy Hutchins, the golden boy who'd built his career on charm and stolen money, was going to federal prison until he was 68 years old. The fall guy had won. Casey and I met for coffee 6 months after the sentencing. She'd left Quantum too. Taken a job at a startup. She looked happier than I'd seen her in years. "The company's still a mess," she told me. "New CEO. New policies. But everyone's paranoid now. Afraid they'll be next. Afraid someone's watching." "Someone should have been watching all along," I said. "You know, people talk about you there. Like a legend. The guy who took down Troy Hutchins. I just reported fraud. You did more than that. You showed everyone that keeping quiet and going along isn't the only option." She stirred her coffee. "My new boss asked me about you. Asked if you were really as meticulous as the stories say." "What did you tell them?" "That you once organized your pen drawer by color and date of purchase." I laughed. "That's an exaggeration." "Is it though?" We talked for an hour, about work, life, moving forward. She didn't mention Troy again. He was already fading into history. A cautionary tale about fraud and hubris. I was building something different. A reputation for integrity. For thoroughness. For being someone who couldn't be pushed around or set up or destroyed. The fall guy who didn't stay down. Who turned his downfall into a platform. 3 years after my termination, I was promoted to Vice President of Risk Management at Vertex. The job Troy had wanted at Quantum. The position that had started this whole mess. I thought about the irony. If Troy had just competed fairly, he might have won. He was charismatic. Good with clients. Well connected. He could have gotten the VP job legitimately. But he'd gotten greedy. Paranoid. Convinced that I was a threat that needed to be eliminated. So he'd framed me. And in doing so, had ensured I'd dig deep enough to find his crimes. Raymond called me into his office after the promotion was announced. "You've built something remarkable here. Our fraud detection rates are industry leading. We've prevented over 2 million in losses this year alone. That's the team. Not just me. You built the team. You created the culture. You proved that integrity isn't just good ethics, it's good business." He pulled out a folder. "I want to show you something." Inside were emails. From other companies. Asking about my fraud prevention system. Wanting to implement similar programs. Offering consulting fees. "You've become known in the industry," Raymond said. The guy who caught the uncatchable fraud. Who built systems that actually work. Are you suggesting I leave Vertex? No. I'm suggesting you expand. Consult on the side. Teach other companies what you've learned. Build this into something bigger. I looked at the emails. Companies I'd heard of. Major corporations. All wanting help preventing what had happened to Quantum. I'll think about it, I said. I started consulting. Small projects at first. Reviewing expense systems. Analyzing vendor verification processes. Teaching companies how to spot the red flags I'd learned to recognize. The work was satisfying. Each company I helped was one less place where someone could do what Troy had done to me. One less employee who might get framed. One less career destroyed by corporate fraud. Word spread. My client list grew. I was featured in industry publications. The fraud detective who started as a fall guy. I hated the headline. But I understood the appeal. Everyone loves a comeback story. The victim who became the victor. The scapegoat who became the expert. Troy, meanwhile, was in year 4 of his sentence. I'd heard he was teaching GED classes in prison. Working in the library. Trying to make the time pass faster. His wife had remarried. His kids visited twice a year. His house had been sold to pay restitution. Everything he'd built was gone. Everything he'd stolen had been returned or accounted for. Everything he'd protected by framing me had collapsed anyway. I didn't feel triumph. Just a quiet satisfaction that justice had been served. That the system had worked, eventually, when given enough evidence. And I'd provided that evidence. 5 years after my termination, I wrote a book. The Fall Guy's Guide to Corporate Fraud Detection. It was part memoir, part handbook. My story mixed with practical advice for recognizing and reporting workplace fraud. Publishers were skeptical at first. It's too niche, they said. Who wants to read about expense reports? But one small business publisher took a chance. They saw the potential. The human story combined with practical value. The book sold better than anyone expected. Corporate buyers. HR departments. Compliance officers. Even students studying forensic accounting. I got emails from people who'd read it and found fraud at their own companies. Who'd used my techniques to protect themselves. Who'd avoided becoming fall guys themselves. One email stood out. From a young analyst at a tech company. I noticed discrepancies in my manager's expense reports. Your book taught me how to document it properly. How to report it safely. They investigated. Found embezzlement. Fired my manager. But they also promoted me and thanked me for my diligence. I would have been too scared to report it without your book. Thank you for showing me how to protect myself. I read that email 3 times. Sat with the knowledge that my worst experience had become someone else's protection. That was worth more than the settlement. More than the promotion. More than any professional achievement. The speaking invitations started coming. Conferences. Corporate events. Universities. Everyone wanted to hear about the fall guy who'd brought down his corrupt manager. I accepted some. Declined others. Tried to focus on events where I could actually teach something useful, not just tell a dramatic story. At a fraud prevention conference in Boston, I gave my standard presentation. Red flags. Documentation techniques. Whistleblower protections. The practical stuff. During Q&A, someone asked, "Do you regret reporting Troy? Would it have been easier to just find a new job and move on?" I thought about that. About the version of myself who could have walked away. Found another position. Let Troy's fraud continue. Easier? Yes, I said. Better? No. Troy didn't just steal money. He stole people's trust. He corrupted systems. He created a culture where fraud was possible. If I'd walked away, he'd still be doing it. And someone else would have been his next fall guy. But you lost your job. Went through hell. I lost a toxic job. I went through hell and came out stronger. And I stopped a criminal. I'd make the same choice again. The audience applauded. But one person in the back didn't. A middle-aged woman with a familiar look in her eyes. The look of someone carrying a secret. After the presentation, she approached me. "I think my manager is doing what Troy did to you. I have evidence. But I'm scared." We talked for an hour. I reviewed her documentation. It was solid. Careful. Exactly the kind of evidence that would stand up to investigation. "You're ready," I told her. "You have everything you need. But what if they don't believe me? What if I get fired?" "You might. That's the risk. But you have whistleblower protection. You have documentation. And you have the truth." She looked at me with watery eyes. "Was it worth it? Everything you went through?" I thought about Troy in prison. About the Quantum employees who'd learned that fraud has consequences. About the systems I'd built at Vertex. About the book that was helping people protect themselves. Yes, I said simply. It was worth it. She reported the fraud. Her company investigated. Found embezzlement. Fired her manager. And promoted her for her diligence and integrity. She called me months later. You were right. It was worth it. Stories like hers kept coming. The fall guys who didn't stay down. Who fought back. Who used documentation and persistence and courage to expose fraud and protect themselves. I'd become, accidentally, a symbol of something. Proof that victims could become victors. That preparation mattered. That integrity won eventually. The fall hadn't ended where Troy thought. It had just begun. But I was the one who'd landed on my feet. 7 years after my termination, I was invited back to quantum analytics. They were hosting a corporate ethics symposium. Wanted me to speak about fraud prevention and corporate culture. I almost declined. Too much history. Too many ghosts. But Raymond convinced me. Face it, he said. Show them what you've become. Show them the cost of their mistakes. The office looked different. New leadership. New policies. New culture. The desperate, competitive atmosphere I remembered had been replaced with something healthier. Casey was there. She'd come back to quantum after they'd reformed. The place is different now, she told me backstage. They actually care about doing things right. Your case changed everything. My presentation focused on how companies create environments where fraud can flourish. Pressure to perform. Lack of oversight. Punishing whistleblowers. Trusting charisma over documentation. Troy Hutchins succeeded for years because the culture protected him, I told the audience. Because results mattered more than methods. Because speaking up was seen as disloyalty. I saw heads nodding. People taking notes. The current CEO, a woman I'd never met, looked thoughtful. After the presentation, she approached me. Mr. Cross, I want to apologize. On behalf of Quantum. For what happened to you. For the culture that made it possible. That means a lot, I said. We've implemented many of the systems you designed at Vertex. We're trying to ensure nothing like that happens again. Good. That's all I ever wanted. 10 years after Troy made me his fall guy, I sat in my office at my own consulting firm. Cross Analytics. We specialized in fraud prevention, corporate ethics, and compliance systems. 20 employees. Clients across 3 continents. Revenue in the millions. I built something real. Something good. Something that protected people. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Julian Cross? The voice was familiar but older. Rougher. Who's this? It's Troy. I went very still. You're out? Early release. Good behavior. Served 8 years. He paused. I wanted to call you. To say. I'm sorry. For what I did. For trying to destroy you. I didn't respond. Let the silence stretch. You were right to report me, Troy continued. I was stealing. I did frame you. I deserved everything that happened. Yes, I said quietly. You did. I've been in therapy. In prison. Trying to understand why I did it. Why I thought it was okay to destroy someone's life to protect my crimes. Did you figure it out? I was scared. Insecure. Convinced that if I wasn't the best, I was nothing. So I cheated. And when you threatened that, I tried to eliminate you. And now? Now I'm a convicted felon who can't get a job. Who lost everything. Who deserved to lose everything. His voice cracked. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that the fall taught me something. That you were the better man. Always were. I thought about the Julian who'd sat in that conference room 10 years ago. Who'd been accused of fraud. Who'd been terrified and angry and determined. The fall didn't end where you thought it would, I said. No. It didn't. You fell up. I fell down. That's justice, I suppose. Troy, I said carefully, I hope you find a way forward. I hope you've actually changed.